Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast. I am your host for this week, Matt. I was about to say Matt Visual. I never say Matt Visual, do I? This doesn't sound right. Sounds like I'm using a stage name and I'm on stage dancing.
I just hear Matt Visual. Like whether or not you say it, I'm gonna hear it in my head.
I'm here with George.
Hello.
George Weedman.
I will hallucinate me hearing you saying visual.
Matt Visual. I've being called that, while you're like out and about is quite interesting. Like, oh, Matt Visual. I'm like, it's like, wait a minute, what? What? The world that I've created inside my room is outside?
Yeah. It is. It's part of the same world. I think over the past 10 years, like as the next generation of kids behind us grew up on the internet, the world really did collide between the IRL and the cyberspace. Meat space and cyberspace are the same. We can't deny it anymore. Like when you go online and put a pseudonym on, you're still the same person you were before. You're just typing under a pseudonym.
Yeah. We don't have a Liam today, by the way.
We don't have a Liam today.
You don't hear any giggles in the back or no sweet Japan UK accent going on.
No arguing over whether or not Smash is a fighting game.
Yeah, that fool. That fool. He always tends to listen to the beginning of this, so I always gotta mess with him.
But this week there was that Nintendo Direct last week where he got really excited that Sakurai also had like some doubts over whether or not it was a traditional fighting game. But come on, if you go out on the street and just like ask any random grandma, hey grandma, is Smash Brothers a fighting game? She's gonna be like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna throw down over this, son.
Yeah, Smash is a fighting game.
Smash is definitely a fighting game, and I don't know about you, Matt, but I also think I prefer the feel and the gravity of Smash 4 over Smash Ultimate.
Really? I think I like Smash Ultimate, actually. I mean, I think I was better at 4, for sure.
I was too, definitely. I was definitely better at 4.
I was definitely better at 4, but Ultimate I like.
I like Ultimate, but after like a few days of just getting completely pummeled by Liam, Anyways, I bring that up because I packed up my Wii U last days. Yes, there were multiple days in which I cleaned up my living room, and I packed up my Wii U during those days. And
did you have a burial?
No, I was surprised by how not sad I was to see it go. Right? Because by now, most of the games have been ported to the Switch, or at least are heavily likely to get ported to the Switch. And I think the last one really holding me over was Wonderful 101. And now there's at least heavily suggestive rumors that that's at least going to be happening. If not, but yeah. Besides Smash 4 for Wii U, I don't know what else I would ever dig it up and want to play again that I could not play elsewhere.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either at all.
Okay, yeah, it's still in rumor stage. It's that Platinum has released statements saying they want to port it to the Switch, but honestly, these days, that probably means it's going to get ported to the Switch within
a year,
our lifetimes.
Yeah.
I don't know about a year, but I feel like we've entered into a phase of there being enough money circulating around the game industry that heavily suggestive rumors basically mean it's going to happen at some point before the end of your lifetime. I mean, they're about to make a System Shock 3. They're about to make a sequel to a game from 1999. Sure, it's been 20 years, but that's still within a lifetime. And that's a rumor that no one would have believed on the playgrounds back in those days.
The playgrounds. Oh, man. It reminds me of, I was like, what do we have as adult playgrounds nowadays?
Playgrounds?
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like you're talking about a brothel or something. Yeah, adult playgrounds. I feel like I visited a few of those in The Witcher.
And talk about video games. Mm-hmm. I feel like we don't have that anymore as adults.
Video games?
Yeah, it's like online. It's like we put on VR headsets and we we chat in VR chat or something like that. And I haven't been on there in forever, but that's
You mean you
usually
don't
what
like
happens.
drive the truck down to your local sports bar and talk about the game with the boys?
Yeah, the game.
The game?
Dude, did you see that pass? Look, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. Soccer,
they're chumming
football,
their father.
all that is just like, what?
They're passing their chummed father over to Derek Jeter's fat face. Do you remember that BoJack arc?
No.
When Diane goes to see her extended family and everyone's just wearing a shirt that says sports on it, and they just like speak this indecipherable language. Yeah, I definitely identify with that moment.
So you've reached season 5 of BoJack. I don't think you've reached season 5 of anything in a while.
But I did reach season 5 of BoJack, and I did it like completely unprompted. No one on the podcast. Actually, no, that's not true. You guys said I would really like it, and I ended up really liking it. But I didn't necessarily like schedule it out as something to do for the podcast or the channel or anything like that, so much as I just felt strangely compelled by all of these characters who I don't want to be when I grow up.
Yeah. Just stay away from anything BoJack like.
It's really scary and sad, but also kind of wholesome and cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an interesting mix of those two elements of life that end up making it feel like such a more honest representation of life than what you usually get out of TV.
Yeah.
Even though it's also about celebrities who are just completely isolated from the rest of us in terms of how they see and live life.
The writing is too good. It's way too good.
Way too good. Scary good.
for like, you know, an animal show, a cartoon adult animal show, like it's way too good. You sit there and you're like, this is like the 3rd season, but for some reason I still enjoy it as much as I was watching like the 1st or 2nd season. And then the 4th season the same thing. 5th season,
I was told that the 1st season was kind of hard to get through, but I did not feel that at all. I got through it at a pretty
it's more like you have to get used to the humor. You got to understand the characters, you know?
And maybe it's because I got into it a few years behind, but it does seem like BoJack humor is tuned to Twitter humor in a way. Like a lot of Princess Caroline's jokes are just clever wordplay, and like she'll just hammer that almost poetic series of mad-libbed gags and alliterations and puns that just come at you with like Twitter density levels. Whenever BoJack himself is going through titular depressive episodes, it feels like it's tuned in to how much the kids and the Zoomers love to tweet about their mental health problems. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but that's what the kids are into these days, are mental health problems. That's the latest hype of shit on the playground, I guess.
Oh my god. The hype of shit. Yeah. I mean, I want you to finish it and see what you think. I want you to finish it and think what you see, because you're almost done with season 5, right?
Almost done with season 5. This show has gone through characters that I feel terrifyingly represent like elements of my psyche I relate to.
Yeah.
That I want to steer away from.
Where you
like
see
BoJack
is in certain characters that are terrible.
I'm terrified of how much I see of myself.
Yeah. Oh man, perfect deadpan humor. Yeah. I didn't think I would like it that much, and then I just kind of got into it, and then could not stop. I could not stop watching that show. Yeah, I like when it works out when you watch a show and you binge it, and then the last season comes out. Coincidentally, right there when you finish the second to last season, you're like, yes, a new season, and it's Netflix too, so the whole series comes out. But yeah, man, BoJack, man, I'm glad you like it. I don't think you finished anything else. At least you finished a cartoon.
I finished Neon Genesis Evangelion in
I didn't even finish that. I think I watched that episode.
Don't poop on me too hard.
I should try to watch that. I should try. I've been playing too much Path of Exile lately.
Again?
I get look, they have leagues, okay? You know, everything changes every league and you feel like, you know, dipping your toe in there. It's like the only game that I have like that. Like everyone has their game. You have your what's that shooting game?
I think I'm between games right now these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
don't,
like
you don't play Siege all the time anymore?
I used to play Siege all the time, then I used to play Ass's Odyssey all the time, and right now I think I'm between those games. Like I haven't loaded up either of them in a while. I'm going through Disco Elysium apparently too slowly, but I might just be focusing too much on cleaning my apartment out and packing up my old video game consoles.
Oh, I did that before moving. I wonder what I kept. I know I sold my Wii U and my 3DS.
How'd you sell it?
Which app did I use? I think I used...
Oh, there's an app for that?
George, how old are you?
I don't know.
OfferUp, and then there's another one. It's called something.
I am 18 years old.
Yeah, we had a birthday party for a friend last night, and he is definitely not 18, but his cake did say 18. I was like, it came out, I was like, 18? Everyone's looking at me like, what? Like, no, there's no way. He's not he's far from 18.
Well, I'm 18.
He's far. Yeah. Oh, wow. You have aged well.
Which, like, let's see if we did the math, would technically mean that I started the YouTube channel when I was 11, but that's true too. One thing that I just like feel like I have to say this about BoJack to somebody. You might think I'm a dorky grandma for it, but I feel like this is the only quote-unquote adult cartoon that if the kids accidentally found themselves watching, it would not scare them for life or like horrifically feature some sort of imagery revealing the true goopy nature of the animal humans and killing the childlike wonder of the magic of childhood for them. Because nothing really visually terrifying happens in BoJack. It's all in the words they say.
Yeah.
And if the kids don't know what those words mean, they're not gonna get as, like, depressed and terrified of it as we as adults will.
How would they even understand a show like that? Like, how you say kids? What are you calling kids? You're talking about teens, right?
11 and under.
Oh God, yeah. So if mommy's watching it, probably not.
Right. Like if the mom is watching with the toddler on her hip, like the toddler's just gonna see cute animals. The mom, on the other hand, is gonna like get a dose of existential depression.
Yes.
She's gonna come away from watching this way worse than the kid is.
You see the kids start growing gray hairs.
And the kid like pulls out a cigarette and takes a sip of coffee. Oh. Dark bags under their eyes.
Oh no. Yeah.
That
will do it to you.
That's what BoJack should get rated for. It's not rated for violence or sexuality. It's rated for like the decay it does to your brain rather than your body.
My God. I gotta watch that last movie and then.
Do you remember a character named I think it was Styles McVicker? Flip McVicker.
Who's Flip?
He is a writer of a very pretentious detective drama named Filbert, who has episodes of writer's block where he just freaks out and has panic attacks in a room by himself while getting nothing done. I don't want to be that, but I feel like I might be that. It's a scary show.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. And he always talks like this.
Mm-hmm. And you know how I always do like the vocal fry? Kind of deadpan, monotonous, up and down, rubbery vocal fry.
I guess that's how you could describe it. If you like deadpan humor, BoJack would be your horse. So, all right. So let's move on from BoJack. So, all right, Disco Elysium. You say you're on day 2.
I'm on day 2.
You spent already 25 hours.
Well, I restarted the game.
Why would you restart the game? Why would you do such a thing? Because
I found a lady who gives you your hostel money, and I wanted to put all my points into asking her for money, and that's how I'm gonna live. Okay,
Okay,
so like
can I tell you what
I
happens then when you don't have the
yeah,
money?
yeah, you can spoil because I might not see it for a while, and it sounds like a good joke, and this game's full of good jokes.
Oh, oh my god. There's so much in that game. God, it's hard not to like that game. Maybe even love. Um when you
Wow.
don't have the money, all right? So this is like the first day and you're getting to know Kim, right? Throughout this whole day, right? Especially if you're playing the game and you're not just like running around doing nothing. Um you're getting to know Kim, and by the end of it, he's like, "Oh, it's getting late. We should probably, go back to the hotel." And you're like, I don't have any money. I don't have any money." He said, "Come on, well, you're a police officer." Yeah. So we go
Oh.
and talk to uh, G-
Oh.
whatever the guy's name, the cafeteria manager,
Mm-hmm.
Greet. What's his name?
I don't know. Cafeteria manager. I know
Cafeteria
who you're talking
manager.
about.
It's funny. I remember all the characters, but I don't remember their names. So like, he's like, "Where's the money? Like because you ruined the room, right? When you wake
Right.
up." And Kim was like, "Come on, he's a police officer. You should, give him like, at least a day to sleep in, whatever, and he can give you the money, whatever, when it comes in, blah blah." And then, because he tried to do like the forceful authority route, and it didn't work on on the cafeteria. And he's like, "No, you broke a window, you trashed that room. There's no freaking way. Pay the 130 real and blah blah blah." So Kim was like, "All right, I might have an idea." So he takes you to the car, and Kim stole some spinning wheels from some diplomat. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Kim? The straight man?
some young rich kid, and he hadn't had the opportunity to put it in on his he loves his car, his police car, but he was like, "Oh, that would be stupid, putting rims on your police car, whatever." And you can make jokes, of course, because like this is the game. Like you can actually make jokes with him and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And of course, I'm like joking most of the
The
time.
joke RPG.
Yeah, Kim knows me as some type of wild card, but gets results. Like that was like my character to him. Yeah, like I used to say the weirdest things to people. Like I spoke to the dead man. Like it's just, oh my god, I love
Which
that
you
game.
can do. I don't know what skill I had, but when I replayed the game, my character started talking to the dead guy.
Yeah, it's different depending on what skills, how high your skill level is for certain things. Like Inland Empire has a lot of good dialogue in it, but if you don't have a bunch in it, you're not gonna see it a lot. I had
And
high
otherwise, you just
intelligence,
wouldn't
so
know.
I had like the mind palace for Sherlock. I see everything that would happen in a scene. It was dope. But yeah, so we go to the pawn shop. I didn't want to do it, but you had to. Like you literally had to sleep in. So we pawn the spinners, and he gives you the 130 and you get to stay. It's the sweetest thing. The sweetest thing, yeah. And like he wanted, through the dialogue is crazy. You can feel like he wanted to do it for you. That it was like okay, even though he didn't want to, but it was like okay. I was like, how do you do that? I have to go back because I'm pretty sure it wasn't voice acted, but the way they word it, the writing was on point. On point. The only thing I don't like about that game is the politics. I just can't get through some of that stuff, man.
Okay, I
But yeah.
I don't. I'm definitely not gonna know as much about the politics as you are since you got through it. But is there any kind of spoiler-free way to describe what you're feeling with regards to that topic?
Yeah, it's the same thing as last time. Very easy way to say is like there's just too much. It's like no, not Papers, Please. There was another game that was like this, where it's just like so much dialogue on what's happening in the world. It's good for world building, but I just good thing you could kind of choose what you listen to, because they ask you your opinion a lot on these fake things that could be
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, and they do
Yeah,
give
I've
you an
noticed
option to kind
that.
of opt out of having that conversation, and it's good because you're a cop and you're not supposed to have an opinion.
Well, that's also why I liked the replay, is that this time I was able to know like what the hell a communard is.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
There's
a
a
lot of
lot of it.
jargon. The political jargon is thick.
It's thick. It's not as bad as Pillars. Okay, so if
Well,
people know me on the podcast, I couldn't get through Pillars because it was just so thick with just everything. At least Disco, most of the time you can understand what's going on without knowing exactly everything about what's going on in the world. Like, you know,
I
through context what's going on.
I think the realism quote unquote setting does a lot to help that out, because it's the fantasy jargon in Pillars is thick and unwieldy, but the political jargon in Disco is something that like I kind of dig. Like you know that
Yeah.
I'm gonna live for that stuff
Yeah.
anyway.
You're going to like it because it's not done. It's done well. And you would get it right away because you're in the politics. I am not. I am
Yeah,
not.
can I did die once so far in my playthroughs, and it was when I ran out of morale. And when you run out of morale, the game ends and it shows you a newspaper clipping of your detective basically deciding to give up. And what my newspaper clipping said was, local cop gives up on detective genre for social realism.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like the most bizarre but also cleverly worded, cleverly written thing that I just like looked at that thing and laughed for a good straight 2 minutes, and then suddenly realized, holy crap, that's kind of the game's genre, is social realism. It's
Yeah.
not fantasy. Like, this is a realistic alternate version of the world. I have yet to see any magic or monsters or whatnot, but the jargon is just like mad-libbing real politics into this fictional world.
And you can even play that white guy who doesn't understand what's racist and what's
Yeah,
not.
that this is gonna be a fun story. Remember the Welcome to Ravachol driver? Him and Kim get in a fight. He's
okay.
waiting on the street and he says, "Welcome to Ravachol." I was playing that next to a friend of mine,
right. Next to the
who
stand,
was like,
right, with all the magazines and stuff.
yeah. He's standing in front of the convenience store. I was playing that in front of a friend of mine, who was like, "Yeah, Kim, fuck him up." And I was kind of squinting, and I'm just like, wait a second, what's actually going here? And she looked at me and was like, he said, "Welcome to Ravachol." And I kind of shrugged and was like, yeah, so? Like, I didn't actually see the racism.
Yeah.
that my character's dialogue choices were totally, like, accounting for that.
Yeah.
Someone else pointed it out, and it was still part of the game's, like, social world building. I love that it's going that hard with it. And that was just 10 minutes before you encounter the actual, like, fantasy Stormfront guy who, who talks about measuring the sizes of the heads for the Samoyedian Occidentals, or whatever word they use in place for, like, real life race science bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just mad-libbed from reality. From the scariest parts of reality.
Oh man, I really want you to get to the end if you ever beat it, and let me know what happens, because it would probably be different for because like during the end, the last few days, you're making decisions that could like really affect a lot of things. Even though you're making decisions now that could affect a lot of things, but like it's a little heavy at the end, you know. There's like a lot of things happening, and all of a sudden you're like it's like point of no return, like things are going. Yeah, and I want to see what happens in your playthrough. So I won't spoil mine. But yeah, it's a very interesting game. I feel like for Disco, I enjoyed the journey more than I enjoyed finishing it, because by the end of it, I felt like I just wanted to play a little bit more.
How long did it last you?
Oh man, I don't even remember how long it lasted me, man. I played that over a month, and I
Wow.
I was just tack at it like just a little bit every now and then, play a couple hours, because it's a lot to get through. It's a lot of it's a lot of like reading, and I like to understand everything that's going on. So I'll like reread some of the politics stuff, and maybe I'll like I've reset one time, be like, okay, you know, I want things to go differently here, and I'll go back. Okay. You know, you could save anytime you want, you know? So it's like, it's hard not to be like, okay, you know what? I didn't really understand the question. So that's not on me. I'm going to reset. Really think about this real quick.
So, howlongtobeat.com logs its main story plus extras in at 27 hours.
Really?
You said it took you over a month, though, so that sounds like quite a low ball.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm probably slower than the average. Because I took my time. I did all the side quests. Like, I wanted to get everything done. I enjoyed it. I took my time with Disco.
Are there any real punishments for save scumming like that? Because I do that a lot too. Like I'll
No.
So I'll save and load for dice rolls. Even like if a dice roll has an even chance,
Yeah.
I'll just save scum it till I win.
Yeah. Oh, even chance like you have 95% and you miss the roll, you're like, oh no, fuck that.
Yeah, no.
I have all these points. You're gonna give it to me for 95%.
That hasn't happened yet, but I wonder if I will.
It's happened to me.
Because like my official policy is if the dice roll says you have an even chance, which I think it gives you from like 42 to 56% or something, then I'll quick load it. On the other hand, if I get a bad roll on a high chance, I might just like want to take the L, you know, and do it because that would make it more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the game is made for you to fail sometimes. Like other things happen when you fail.
I mean, it is possible to die as soon as you wake up and begin the game.
Yep. Oh my God, that game. It's like playing D&D.
If you get your character, your horrific, bloated, alcoholic, drug addict character to do something too exciting and have a heart attack, you just die.
Have you been taking drugs?
During the first playthrough I did. During the second playthrough, no. I basically played through
first playthrough.
The first playthrough was cigarettes. As soon as my guy saw cigarettes, side quest showed up in his inventory begging him to go do those cigarettes. But for my second playthrough, I put all my points into like logic and reasoning and decided to play a completely straight-laced good cop who actually knew what was going on. I don't know. I guess we'll see as day 2 continues and whatnot. But I'm going to try to keep him sober for this run. But the first run, I clicked on everything and accidentally got addicted to cigarettes.
For people who have played, my stats were 5, 2, 2, 3. So
okay, so 5 is like encyclopedia knowledge. And 2 is people knowledge.
Yeah? No, the logic and everything, the encyclopedia? Yeah.
There's encyclopedia and logic, and then there's like book knowledge, and then people knowledge, and then how strong your body is, and then how fast your body is. It's an interesting system.
Yeah.
How they like separate those two branches of knowledge off of one another. Like they don't even call it charisma. It's like psyche or something. It's social knowledge. How much you know about people versus the world.
In the first one, there is drama, so you can have a lie detector on there.
And lie good yourself.
And I know we've been talking about Disco for a while, but like it's
good.
You gotta understand, people who haven't played, whatever you point points into, you get these characters in your head that speak.
You talk to your own skills.
That's how it is. And he's aware that this happens. They mention it like once or twice maybe. But like I have a lot into drama, so I can tell who's lying to me. And I can also lie if I want to.
It's really interesting.
And the drama would be acting like some old high school teacher. Like, oh, he is not lying, sire. You know, like it's so, oh my God. All of them having their own language and stuff, it's incredible. It's
And it's
incredible. Like,
still
I've never seen something so deserving of awards in my life. I was like, they put time into this, and this is significantly different from stuff that we have now. There's no other game like Disco last year. There's no other game like Disco.
it doesn't feel like a cheap ploy to say your character's crazy either. Like it doesn't come off as him having schizophrenia. It's more like the internal dialogue of his own consciousness is what you read, and then you pick what he says with his mouth. Like,
Yeah.
in terms of describing what thinking is like, it's surprisingly good
Yeah,
at that.
it's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
that's
I've
kind
done
of
a
how
little
it
bit
works.
of talking to myself a lot. So I just really enjoyed it.
And you can't totally control what thinking you do, but also
No.
you kind of can too.
Yeah.
Like it's a good representation of those layers inside your mind.
And those voices can be wrong about the situation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Even if you have high skills, can they still be wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, so I got to keep an eye out then.
Yeah. So, go with your gut. Like, sometimes, I'm not saying, like, it depends. Like, I would say logic is more right than wrong. But
The
like, what
body
would
skills-
happen is that you will get different. Like, they will all talk to each other. Like, all your skills will talk to each other. Like, no, do this. No, do that. And then you have to pick, and you get these dialogue options because you get options based on your skills a lot. You have like your basic ones, your basic answers, and then you have like whatever your skills have given you. Like, oh, he's lying about this. You should mention this, and then it will pop up. And then another skill will be like, no, blah 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 blah. He's definitely talking about this, and then that would pop up. Yeah, so it's such a good way to play, because you choose the way you want to play. And I think a second playthrough would be very interesting once you understand what's going on.
The first playthrough, I tried to talk my way through Measurehead and never was able to actually internalize his racist theories and get past him. For the second playthrough, I don't remember what trick I pulled, but it involved wearing a wife beater, which made my guy want to beat things up. And I ended up managing to beat up Measurehead.
Did you do a spin kick?
I did a spin kick. The crowd
too.
loved it. The crowd went wild.
I did a spin. He's like, the girls were like, you're the new Measurehead now. I'm like, no.
And he's just like, no,
Kim was
I got
like,
work to do.
No one's a new Measurehead. Kim is like, God, I love Kim. Oh
yeah,
my God,
and
I
the
love
dialogue choice that I picked after beating him up was, "Welcome to Ravachol."
God, oh my God, that game understands humor so well. Oh my God. Yeah, Disco, one of my favorite games of last year. I'm so glad I pushed myself to play it. I'm so happy.
So, also speaking of favorite games from last year, what I spent the holiday break playing through for the 2 weeks where we were planning out the decade episode and the awards show episode was Outer Wilds, which we did get to talk about during the awards show, but not to the greatest extent that I feel maybe it should be. And you played it months ago.
Yeah, like
almost
a year ago.
Not bring
and I
yourself
still remember
to...
a lot
was
of it.
Really, almost a year? What?
I played when it first came out, dude. I was in a different place in life when I played that game, bro.
In May 29th, 2019?
Dude, it's January. It's January. We're about to overlap.
We're
Before you
3
know it,
months
May is going to be
away.
here, and we're going to be like, oh God, what's happening? Do you follow that Twitter life not life percent
the
year
percent
meter thing? Because I do.
I don't follow it, but I inadvertently do because everyone I follow does follow it.
Yeah, it keeps you not on track. It just kind of depresses you. Like, oh, 10% of the year's already gone. What the hell is happening?
Yeah. You played Outer Wilds back in May.
Yeah, I still remember a lot of it because I enjoyed it.
Good. Because I mean, man, I don't know. I might have had like a religious experience playing that game.
Wow. It takes me months, guys. Months to get these fools to play good games. Months. I come on this podcast, I rave about it, and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try eventually. They play it, they're like, oh my God. They're like touching themselves.
Yeah, no, I totally touched myself.
I know, right?
But I mean, we're not. I got to it eventually. Because it's an Epic Game Store exclusive. I had to install extra software and make a new password.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember.
And then there was the Black Friday sale where they were giving out those coupons, and I was able to pick it up for $15.
Nice. That's a really good deal. That's a movie.
Yeah, for $15, I am happy to shill out for the Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
At a price point that low, Outer Wilds, the Epic Game Store version of Outer Wilds, is absolutely worth $15.
And Liam was going through kind of what I was. Kind of like my only complaint about Outer Wilds is like, it depends on, I guess, the way you solve puzzles, but it takes a bit. Sometimes you get stuck. Yeah. There was like two times where I got like really stuck, where I felt like, okay, what do I do here? And I had to like really stop and like think and look at the notes and just like mess around a bit.
I talked with a friend during a car ride who gave me a vague hint. And I feel like that's the way to do it. Because that got me thinking about coming back home and getting real exciting and trying out the solution he gave me a hint for. Towards the end of the game, I got stuck again, and I looked it up online, and I had to like close my eyes and block out the spoilers in the rest of the walkthrough so I could get my one vague hint.
Yeah.
There should be just a guide of vague hints for that game.
I wish.
The vaguest.
Like you can enable it inside of your game, so you don't have to go online for it, because I don't like spoilers, so I try to avoid anything online.
Yeah,
I don't even look up the game. So like sometimes I have to, but like I don't even look at the game sometimes for these types.
They do try to hint you
in the right direction.
Yeah, but it's less obvious than what my friend was telling me.
yeah, way less obvious. Sometimes.
So yeah. But besides a better hint system, though, besides, I guess, a little bit more technical polish, because sometimes you'll see the lighting and physics engines glitch out, but the lighting and physics engines are so complicated that I'm willing to accept some occasional glitches of weirdness, because, I don't know, remember when you played Half-Life 2 in 2004, and it was blowing your mind that objects roll and tumble about with equal force, that they're being acted upon by other forces, and you're like, wow, a physics simulation.
Yeah, physics.
I have not felt as excited about physics simulations in video games up until Outer Wilds since then. Like this is way more impressive than Half-Life 2. This is not simulating Newtonian formulas. This is simulating the clockwork of an entire solar system.
I want to know something. All right, so I guess like some spoilers here on the planets.
Okay,
right here, guys.
I'll jot some down. So I want to say there's like 6 minutes of mechanical spoilers ahead, which are important since Outer Wilds is a puzzle game. No story spoilers though, and if you haven't played through it, you're probably good to listen to it. If you're just going through it right now, you might want to skip.
So when you're going to these new planets, right? How did you feel? Let's pick one. The one where you have to go through an atmosphere.
Right.
To get through, and it's like a big water world.
That was my first stop.
That was your first stop, you crazy man. Oh my God. How did that that must have wrapped you up real quick though.
Okay. I'm it's good though that it's Gabbro who's aware of the time loop that you're in. So I found someone on your home planet who says, our friend Gabbro went to explore Giants Deep and saw some cool tentacle monsters in a giant water planet. And so I was like, oh, I gotta go there. It's Cthulhu. So I go there and I find Gabbro and talk to him. And all of a sudden the island that we're on shoots up into outer space in the middle of our conversation. And so I come crashing back down and die because I guess the fall I was slightly in the air and took fall damage when both me and the island hit back onto the water of the planet again. And then wake up and go back to Gabbro, and he says, did we just die? And that conversation was perfect for the timing that my first death in the game hit, because it was in a conversation with the one character who's aware that you get to keep playing after you die. And then the island got launched into space again, except this time I knew, so I decided to stay on the ground, but I got died because I got smushed by the island on its way back down.
Oh.
Like, that game is so full of great stories and hilarious deaths and just wow, crazy moments that come at you at a pace that is incredible. And the whole while I'm thinking in the back of my head, wait a second, I and everything else in this world is a physics object in a physics simulation that's hurtling us through space around a sun.
For people who want to know what he's talking about, there's these tornadoes on this in this world, and when it gets to an island, it picks it up out of the water and throws it into space.
Yeah,
and then it
floater
slowly
islands.
gets dragged back down by, I guess, some type of pull.
Oh, you mean gravity?
Yeah. I mean,
Some
you're
type
way
of
in
pull.
space though. Like, that's a crazy pull. From,
Well, everything in space is ever so slightly pulled towards some gravity out there. That's the
really,
force
from
that
that
binds
far
the
away?
universe together. Yeah, and that's what the game like clicked in my mind was, if you and I floated around in deep enough space and just like hugged each other, we'd get pulled into each other's gravity pull.
Oh.
Like there's some moments, I don't know if you ever had to recharge your ship in outer space, but if you get out there, you'll start orbiting around your own ship if there's nothing else pulling you guys together. So mentally imaging all of the matter in the universe just like wanting to get pulled towards gravity and form perfect spheres around it suddenly like recontextualized how I, as my own body of mass, should feel about walking on top of a 3D sphere. That's the other thing that I think blew my mind about this game, was all the surfaces you walk on top of are 3D spheres instead of a 2D grid. You know that you'll get to the other side if you keep walking in one direction. You know that like a straight line might not be the shortest distance between 2 points. That is just wild for me to think about what the level editor of this game looks like, because the way it usually works is you click and drag out a perfect square, and that correlates with the floor or a wall on top of a grid. But here, it's almost like there should be a slight curve to everything in order to make it look straight when you're on the ground on the surfaces of these planets. Like, I don't know how someone could be a flat earther after playing this game. Like, you have to have a hands-on grasp of the physics at play here.
All the developers are flat earthers.
There's no freaking way. This is one of those magical games that is like an educational experience.
Yeah. All right. So when you got to the giant steep, it didn't scare you?
Oh yeah, no, it scared me. I thought there would be something spooky under the planet and the core.
I didn't want to play. Like, I almost didn't want to go in. I was like, yeah, I'll do another planet. I went in and like I got straight into like a tornado and I got whirled out. I was like, oh my God, this is freaky. I remember the first time I landed on the moon, where you have to take a picture of it and then try to land on it. Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
dude.
The quantum moon.
Yeah, because you got so like comfortable with going through it. You're like, what the hell? And you learn that you could take a picture. And then when you try to land, when I went through, I just went straight into it, boom, and almost broke my ship.
I think the scariest moment for me was when I was very, very far away from the supernova, in like deep subspace pockets and dark bramble, but so far away enough that I couldn't really see or hear what was going on. But suddenly the lights just went out. And like once the sun is gone and there's no light to go around in that universe, and it was like just the lights on the ship and a completely pitch black screen, I got really freaked out because like that's the prediction, man. That's supposed to happen in 3-4 whatever billion years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. like I said last time, you guys need to watch the time lapse of the universe, man.
So you know how time is supposed to get, it's supposed to feel like it's going faster when you're closer to a black hole because the gravity is pulling harder. I wonder if in the game, when you're closer to a black hole, the rest of the universe's like clockwork either speeds up or slows down accordingly. I wonder if they actually simulate time dilation in the game, depending on how close or far you are from black holes or stars. Like, I didn't measure it myself, but that seems like the kind of little itty-bitty detail that they would actually bother to include in this incredibly ambitious and impressive physics simulation of an entire solar system.
That black hole.
But yeah, like after playing the game, I feel like I get it. I understand why your clocks would tick slower, because gravity is pulling all of the equipment that you can use to measure time harder. Like the only reason we know time exists, well, not the only reason, but the first reason we knew time exists is because we were able to watch things fly through the sky because of gravity. And then we made hourglasses and water clocks, so gravity was pulling things towards the core of our planet, and that's how we measure time. The only way we know time exists is because gravity exists. So the two concepts are, it's easier for me to think about the two concepts being measurable along the same axis than before. It's fucking wild. Those outers are truly wild.
I wonder if this could be like used in schools, if they could.
Yeah,
like,
I was thinking the same thing.
Like a educational thing, like you're saying.
I would have loved to have this game when I was going through like high school physics classes. Like, it would have been such a fun way to play with these wild concepts that are usually just math, but having a hands-on interactive demo of those wild concepts changes everything that's going on in my brain in terms of how I visualize and imagine that stuff.
Another game I absolutely love. No other game has given me such incredible feels as that game. Just I was scared to jump through a black hole. Like,
and then when you
I would
get
fall
on the other
off
side.
on that I forget what, the wild seed, or what was it called? Something.
Brittle Hollow?
Yes.
Brittle Hollow is the one with the black
when it was
hole.
breaking apart, and sometimes you would accidentally fall because a lot of the level would be breaking down during the day. And I was like, oh no, I'm falling. And I would turn my camera up so I wouldn't see. Or I'll just reset it. I was just like, no, I can't do this. I can't.
Really?
Yeah, I can't.
Did you ever see what's on the other side of the black hole?
Yeah. The white station. Yeah.
It's like a nifty, fun guide that's like, it's not your first time falling through. Don't worry, we knew you'd end up doing this
over and over and over again. Yeah, this is after I've went everywhere I could go. It's so weird. When I fell through for the first time, I was like, what happened? What the hell happened? Because your screen, just the way it warps. I can't imagine being in space and going through this hell. I don't know if my mind can like get through it. I want it before I die, but like, and it's probably not gonna happen in my lifetime. But that's what's
so important about the photo of the black hole, is that we know light kind of wraps around it.
Yeah,
and that if you're looking at a black hole, you will be able to see the stuff behind the black hole, even when you're in front of it.
Can you imagine finally, like, someone going through it?
After playing the game, I now can. I was not able to before, but after playing the game, I now
in real life.
I guess your body would get crushed, but on the way in, you'd see some crazy light show effects.
Oh my god! You remember Interstellar? That's right. I see it on the doc here.
Yep. I watched Interstellar as soon as I finished it.
Yeah, the way they made the light curve around it. Oh my god.
So that movie also, like, I mean, I'm guessing that any human going through or probe going through would get crushed, but after the game, I can picture what the grid of space-time itself might look like on the other side, and how you'd basically, or I don't know. I'm guessing you'd have to introduce some new rule in order to make energy and mass be conservable in such a tiny point in space. But in that movie, spoiler alerts for the crazy ass ending of Interstellar, Is you've seen the ending of Interstellar,
Yeah,
right?
I still remember the books.
Yeah, we're totally gonna spoil the Interstellar ending for 2 minutes. Skip ahead by like 2 minutes if you don't wanna. I like that they used little dangly strings to represent what moving around and having an accidental pull on the gravity of someone else's experience earlier in the timeline might look like. That reminds me of Super Hot VR.
What? Whoa. Okay.
Because in Super Hot VR, time moves when you move,
Yeah.
right? And we are three-dimensional creatures who live in a fourth-dimensional world but have no real control over the fourth dimension, which is time. We move on the X and the Y axis in 3 different dimensions through time, but we can't go backwards or forwards through time. But the theory at the end of Interstellar was that eventually humans are going to be able to figure out how to manipulate time and thus become fourth dimensional beings, which might feel like playing Super Hot VR, a game where time moves when you move.
Wow.
Wow. Am I onto something here, or am I just crazy?
Both. A little bit of both. It's always good to have a healthy dose. Just a little bit of crazy to even you out, you know?
At the end of Interstellar, time moves when Cooper Murphy moves, if that was his name. And in Super Hot VR, time moves into the future when you move. The only real difference that I guess you got to wrap your head around with his situation is that time moved into the past when he moved his body. So if you like close your eyes and picture playing Super Hot in reverse and having some muscle that you can stretch that might switch it back to playing Super Hot in regular speed, that might be what it's like to think four-dimensionally.
Wow. We're getting deep on this podcast, man.
Yeah. Imagine if time moves when you move, and you also have like telekinetic powers of manipulating gravity with your hands and stuff. You'd basically be a god. It would be great.
Oh, it reminds me of the Watchmen.
Oh, freaking hell. Which is another thing you watched that the rest of us didn't, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who watches The Watchmen? Matt watches The Watchmen.
I watch all
and
the
I've
good
heard
stuff,
good
man.
things. You watch all the good stuff. You play all the good games.
And then you guys catch up eventually.
Well, doesn't Watchmen get like scary with racists like Disco does?
Oh yeah. I told you like it's there. Racism is there. Yeah. It works though. It really works. I'm pretty sure that's how the original comic was, but like I would say I would have to look that up. But yeah, it deals with that a lot. And it's good. It's a really good show. Like I feel like they address racism, but it's not in a way of like if you ever watch Black Lightning, where it's just like, oh, the cops are evil. You know, like there's none of that like immature stuff. This is like a more mature way of having. It's more of the world that you're looking at, the world building, than it being like, oh, there's people that are racist. We all know that. We all know that. But it's like kind of like the background of Watchmen, and it's good. It's real good.
The big Twitter thread I saw was the scenes of the Tulsa massacre, which I'm actually really, really interested in maybe like surveying how people found out about that, because I did not know until I want to say sophomore year in college. Like they just straight up hid that from public education courses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in like northern suburban Atlanta suburbs.
Shoot. I actually did not know that. Huh. Wow.
Did you hear about it from Watchmen or from anything else?
From Watchmen. I thought it was made up. I didn't know a lot of these events were real. That's crazy.
No. Yeah, 36 people died, and they were like bombing the black neighborhoods, and it was just racists with planes doing it.
Oof. I'm glad we're we're not there anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't know, being born like maybe 10 years earlier. On the other hand, I've heard if you're not like a boring white guy, you're probably gonna want to be born now, no matter what time it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, the world is changing. I don't know for the better, but at least people are more aware about things. You know?
That is the silver lining. People
Yeah.
now know about the Tulsa race massacre, the Black Wall Street massacre. I like that one.
Oof, jeez, man. I'm serious. So now I have to look up to see if it was in the original comics because I think it was, but I have to look it up.
Surprising to me because I don't remember that. I read the graphic novel when I was a kid. I watched a little bit of the first movie, but it was so long ago and I was such a dumb kid that I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff just sailed over my head when I was reading it.
Yeah.
But I do not remember it.
Yeah, because I don't remember it in the movie either. I don't remember them dealing with any of that. So
I remember the narrative being all about the commercialization of superheroes.
Right.
And metafiction.
So maybe the Watchmen is like something that is adapted to whatever's going on.
Hell yeah.
That probably could be it. But again, like it's been a while since I even touched that novel. So man, I was young. Yeah, when you're young, you just kind of take what you take. You don't really think on a very incredibly deep level that will last years in your mind. That you're like, oh yeah, that's right. The book of 1989 was talking about blah 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 blah.
The Cold War apocalyptic anxiety was high in the book, I remember. Everyone thought that America and the Soviet Union were going to nuke each other. Nowadays, maybe they adopt it to the global warming, the climate catastrophe apocalyptia.
Yeah, so maybe the racist stuff was just for that.
Mm-hmm. Because I do remember the book having a tension of apocalyptic stakes going on. There was a doomsday clock, and
I guess you can't really do like a whole white cast anymore. You know,
I'm just wondering if like
I grew up with
nowadays
an all white cast. You know, I didn't care, man. I had my Will Smith. I had my Martin Lawrence. Maybe not Martin Lawrence, but I had my Will Smith and The Rock and all that. You know, that's what I had.
I kind of feel bad for the kids who grew up in the early to mid to late 2000s, like basically before all the hyper woke SJW stuff began, but also after the token diversity of the 90s. Like that kind of ended for a while, I feel, and I feel like we're seeing the repercussions of that with those kids who are growing up nowadays. But what the hell am I trying to talk about anymore? I don't know.
We gotta lighten it up. We gotta lighten it up with some. What's this anime Wild Hearts you got going on this doc here, man?
I just want to say, as a kid growing up, I always did like That's So Raven better than Boy Meets World.
It's crazy That's So Raven is crazy, but it's so
Wait, what's wrong with That's So Raven? Are we not allowed to watch That's So Raven anymore?
No. The person.
Did she get in Twitter trouble?
The person who plays. She's a little wacky.
Anyways, yeah, you're just noticing Sayonara Wildhearts on the docket. I played Sayonara Wildhearts. That was a big 2019 game that I wanted to catch up on for the podcast. Because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any Game of the Year candidates, right? And Sayonara Wildhearts is great, but I don't know if it's a Game of the Year candidate. It's like a hour and a half long set of... Hour and a half, probably not even that. 45 minutes to an hour long set of rhythm music game levels that you're gonna tap your controller to the button prompts that show up on the screen, and they're very effective. They have a coherent theme of heartbreak and getting over it and pulling yourself back to it's like a breakup album that you play. And there's some cool set pieces that the levels walk you through. Every one of them kind of tributes some other cool music game concept. There's a level that looks like Groove Coaster. There's a level that looks like Rez. There's a level that looks like Frequency or Amplitude. And you get good goosebumps when the music swells and crazy robots flash on screen and explode to the rhythm of the beat. And then you unlock a mode that has you play through it all in one go with no breaks between the levels, like you're listening to an album. And then I kind of never really thought about it again. This kind of demonstrates why I might have such a hard time getting into rhythm games, because I'll feel good when I'm tapping out the beat.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I do not feel like I'm creatively expressing myself. They are a very, very limited experience almost always, and I'm wondering how rhythm games could be a little bit more open-ended and freeform, because it's like if you don't do the dance perfectly on rhythm, your pacing just grinds to a halt and you lose and gotta restart. And that's something that I feel has always blocked me from enjoying rhythm games as much as fans that really like rhythm games really, really do. I want to get into that level, but I just feel like there's no room for experimentation or fuck ups or expression in a lot of them.
Yeah.
And even when they're like really well done and really high quality, like Sayonara Wildhearts, there's still a hit that replay value takes because of how linear they always are.
Yeah.
It's a cool game, and it's worth checking out if you like rhythm games and technologically impressive feats of video game engineering. However, it doesn't feel like a must play like Outer Wilds and Disco do.
Okay.
More of a niche project, probably.
The trailer does look pretty interesting. It looks like something I can get like a friend into that doesn't play games. You know, be like cool to look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good beginner game.
You ever play the Bit Trip Runner series?
Yeah. That's old, isn't it?
And it's also yes, it is old, but it's also like a side-scrolling tap the buttons to the rhythm of the dance game. I want to say Sayonara Wildhearts feels like a way better version of that. Like it's ultimately a simple tap the buttons to the rhythm flying at you kind of rhythm game.
Yeah.
But the difficulty spike to the Bit Trip games was just so high I was never really able to fully get into them. Sayonara Wildhearts, on the other hand, I don't want to call it easy, but definitely more forgiving than hardcore high difficulty music rhythm games can be. And the control scheme is simple, so it's good for that. Tap your fingers to the beat, feel some goosebumps. Enjoy the implications behind abstract visuals and lyrics that meet a coherent theme, and then decide whether or not you want to play it again because your parents may or may not have introduced you to music too late in life.
Whoa,
all right.
Man.
Anyways,
too late. Way too late.
Well, I think that's what happened. My parents never like left the music on running when I was a kid, and now I'm a goddamn grown ass adult, and I don't know if I have a good taste of music.
Yeah, I mean, you don't listen to a lot, so I would say you are correct.
I just think I don't get as much out of it as other people because I don't have the warm, fuzzy association of knowing that this reliable thing has been with me my whole life, because I didn't really seriously start listening to music until I was a teenager or an adult, and even then
Maybe it's just you, because I feel like music should be able to attach to somebody even at an older age. Like, I can't live without music for me. Like, my playlist is constantly going and going.
My apartment is silent most of the time. I'll put music on. I'll put music on when I'm cleaning or writing. But if I'm like making breakfast or waking up or just going through my day, I'd rather have silence.
Like super quiet, huh? Like you just hear the cockroaches inside the kitchen type quiet.
Hear the police sirens outside more like. Don't remind me that I have to clean my kitchen. I'm gonna take like 8 hours probably to do it, and it might go faster if I put some music on. But I think it's nurture. I think it's how I was raised.
Okay.
Because like did your parents leave like music? Did they try to get you into music when you were a kid?
No.
How did it happen?
Me after so of course I grew up like Christian, right? So like my mom would okay, all right, my stepdad did play old music, Al Green, The Temptations, you know. So and I did grow up with that, and I still love them to this day. But mostly just a bunch of Christian music. In the beginning, I learned how to play the drums because I enjoyed music in general. But I did listen to a lot of the radio back in the day, back in the I was gonna say 90s. not 90s,
Back
so early
in the
2000s.
90s.
It's early 2000s, yeah. You know, that
Oh.
music, what was popping in Miami back then, you know, all the Ludacris, the Flow Riders, the
Same top 40 songs that they
Fat
play over
Joe,
and over again all day.
Listen, no. T-Pain, Rick Ross, man, like all those, like, just like, I mean, nowadays you play them, you're like, ooh, what were they talking about? But back in the day, you weren't thinking about any of that, and the beat was good. Yeah, I have a high school playlist that I popped on the other day, and I was like, ooh, this is a little spicy. These are a little it's a little spicy. And I don't really care for too much spice nowadays, you know. I just want some good music, you know.
I think what happened, because I remember my parents, we would go to church and do music, and I found it boring as hell, and my mom would listen to classical radio, and I found it boring as hell. But when I was in middle school and I developed, I guess, a music center in my brain all on my own, I did get in to Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
For like a year. And ever since then, I've never been able to really like get into any one particular band or act. And I wonder if it's because I'm worried that it's going to be another Limp Bizkit.
So
I think that's why Limp Bizkit did it. Limp Bizkit killed my taste in music.
He limped it. Made it limped.
God, I remember those years were so awkward. I actually, like, a year when I was in 7th to 8th grade, I would watch MTV. I would buy albums, and I bought some Gorillaz and Alicia Keys and Limp Bizkit. And Gorillaz and Alicia Keys are fine, but for some reason, the edgy, dumbass 13-year-old gamer kid I was latched onto Limp Bizkit instead of those two. And now I just don't want to risk that again. I don't want to have my heart broken. Dude,
there's so much music out there, dude.
Now I just listen to video game music.
Oh my god. Please, listeners of the podcast, get this boy listening to some good stuff. Rock, rap,
like, remember
anything.
when you guys like send me links to those Juju Beats albums? Like, I put them on, I cleaned the house a bit to them, and then I just never really thought about it again.
I do not feel emotions, George.
Okay, I did have the Toss a Coin to Your Witcher song stuck in my head for a couple days. That did happen
That's
to me.
That's still video game music.
Yeah,
literally,
but that still means that I'm
video
capable.
Game Geralt. Like, he's acting like video game Geralt. Like, he probably played the games. Because, you know, I don't like Henry at all. I don't like Superman at all. All right? And I think he's way too cocky. But when he played The Witcher and I heard him talk about it, I was like, okay, you're winning me over. He did his grunts. He actually did a good job in The Witcher. Even though I feel like the series, there's some, like, really bad moments, I would say, during the end.
Yeah,
did you feel that?
yeah.
Like, it was just like really bad writing at the end. Like the last 3 or 4 episodes, you're like, what the what? This doesn't even make any sense. And everyone's like, oh, The Witcher is so good. Like, what?
I went through episode 4, and there's a friend of mine who wants to go through it with me, but I kind of don't want to come back until they do episode 4 on their own, because I don't want to rewatch episode 4. Oh, god damn it, I feel like I have to use the bathroom again.
What's been going on, George?
I've been drinking a lot of water, and it's time to, like, change topics or do a break or something anyway. I'll jot that down and be back in, like, 2 minutes.
To the break.
The Joker has come to Metropolis to rub out Superman.
Feel free to expire any time.
Of course, Luthor is in on the action, and Batman is the only man who can stop them. What kind of deal have you made with him? Toonami presents 2 of the greatest superheroes of all time. Together, Batman, Superman, in World's Finest. Friday, November 17th at 5.
I'll be careful. Careful won't cut it.
Only Toonami.
Hello! Whoa. And welcome back.
Jeez,
to the Dad and Sons
man.
Podcast.
God almighty, that, like, I felt that on my face.
You felt it on your face. You have speakers
on.
So, yeah.
We don't have Liam.
We don't.
And we just have you and me, Matt.
All right, so we could talk about China now.
This is the part of the podcast where we usually talk about news, right?
Yeah.
And the last time I just had you, there was silly stuff happening that week.
Yeah.
Like our news topics involved Square Enix covering up the pubes. On Final Fantasy VIII Siren.
Mm-hmm.
I unfortunately don't think that, despite how long it's been since we've done a proper news section, I don't think anything quite that offbeat is here for us on this just Matt and George episode. So we have to stretch some drier topics than usual to get you talking about them. So however, I do think I did find the stupidest news topic over the holiday break that we could start us off now.
With. Yeah.
IGN is officially changing their review scale system from a 100-point scale to a 10-point scale.
Which means no more decimals? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Wait, hold
nice
on. It might
numbers,
be the
like
other
1 to
way
10.
around. Okay, that means there'll be no more 7.1s or 8.9s, not even 6.5s, just round numbers from 1 to 10. So I was a little bit more cynical on this when I first saw this, because I was just like, oh, they're just dropping the decimal point. But actually, they're dropping like 2 number long reviews scores altogether. It's just 1 number, or 2 decimals. It's just 1 flat number now. 1 to 10.
Yeah. I mean, I think we my thing on this, I don't like giving numbers or anything because people's enjoyments are going to change. Not that it's like everyone should adopt that. It's just like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, just do whatever the hell you want. Like, why is this news? Why did you decide to do this?
I'm guessing because you raise a valid point, which is why do this? Why care?
Yeah.
But the system in place is one where oftentimes Metacritic scores are the determinator of how a lot of games that don't have big marketing budgets sell well or not. Like, whether or not you like it, if you don't give a review score, you're not contributing to that small little bit of the game's initial hype push.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're going to be probably writing a better review with a more helpful way of interfacing to the reader. But in terms of the content of the review itself, like, I really don't know if the score matters. Like, the score almost says more about the review than the game. Like, an 8.5 is a safe score, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a safe game.
Yeah.
If anything, it means that it's like kind of a niche game that might not be super high enough polished to get the 9, but might be so insanely well suited to someone's particular taste that they'll like it better than a 9.
Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed, and I'm wondering if you've noticed this too, is that the games that I tend to like these days hover around the upper 8s and lower 9s on Metacritic like usual. But the games that go above 94 on Metacritic for the past, 7 years have been games that I actively despise. Like, they're not games that I don't think should be like niche games or special interest games. Like, they're games that I think are ruining the medium almost.
Let's see here.
For examples, I'm going to be picking BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, and Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm going to bring the top 100 list up and just noticed when I was doing this video, like, some very strange choices in terms of how well people remember these games years upon years later started popping up in the later years. And they're the ones that, like, they're games that I find it hard to ignore that they exist and got these scores. Like, they're games that I can't not think about because other games are going to follow those trends and saturate the cream of the crop into some very, very generic exercises. So, okay, Grand Theft Auto 5, released in 2004 with Metacritic of 97. Breath of the Wild, there we go, a Metacritic of 97. That's one that I didn't like at all, but everyone else
you didn't like it at all.
Well, Breath of the Wild, I have said my piece about
You
how
hated it, George? You hated Breath of the Wild? Send me that link that you're looking up all the stuff, because Metacritic, their website is complete garbage.
I have said my piece. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've tried to give Breath of the Wild another go and still couldn't really get my pink tickled on that. Oh yeah, the Batman Arkham games score very, very highly on this stuff. Well, in 2011 we had Batman Arkham City get a 96. I gave it a shot and couldn't get into it because, like, Sandbox City checklist.
Oh yeah, you're right. I remember enjoying the first one the most. After that one, it kind of steadily dropped off. Like Rocksteady, I remember, was the original developer, and they did like a good job at the first one. And I think the second one was pretty decent, but the third one was such a change from what they did.
And also, I can't comment on Red Dead Redemption 2, which scored very highly, but it did weird me out that Red Dead Redemption 1 scored as highly as it is.
Metal Gear Solid 2 got a 96.
And yeah, MGS 2 and 4 both scored very, very highly, and I find that strange nowadays too.
Maybe you should have it on like the last decade so you can kind of see, because there's a lot of like old games on here. Like, because, you know, like Mass Effect 2, I can see why that got like a 94. Ocarina of Time, that game is, but no one will ever give that a bad score.
What was it about BioShock Infinite that so impressed everyone back in 2003 or 2013? Yeah, I keep doing that. I have
no idea why. I remember enjoying it. I don't think about it at all, but I remember enjoying it. Like, I think about Mass Effect and stuff like that, those games that came out around that same time, more than I think about like BioShock Infinite. I do think about BioShock 2, the multiplayer, and BioShock 1, the story. I remember playing that for the first time and how like different it was. But Infinite, yeah, don't even. Maybe because they were doing like a serious topic. I don't know.
Because there's racism and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're like woke. So bringing racism.
But in terms of how these games that will impress critics by tackling taboo topics with production values and quote unquote maturity, is that they will typically do it in a way that has really, really boring gameplay attached to it. Mm-hmm. Like Spec Ops: The Line, I think is an incredible example if you try to compare the differences in what's going on in a player's head in terms of whether or not they think what they're doing is good versus them playing through Metal Gear Solid 3, where you actually get a choice whether or not you want to kill the soldiers, versus Spec Ops: The Line, where you're going to kill the soldiers and the game's going to tell you should feel bad. In Metal Gear, if you kill the soldiers, the game's going to tell you should feel bad, and you might actually feel bad because it gave you a choice not to. Like, The Last of Us is a story about exploring the morality of ethics in a post-apocalyptic world, but the gameplay is about sneaking behind bad guys and stabbing them in the neck to get to the next room, because you usually can't unless you solve that problem of those obstacles somehow.
See, we're a bunch of dads that like the older games and how they were made instead of like it being so money-driven nowadays. Like, I was talking to the bartender, which I think is the owner of there's this club called Mansion here in Southern California. And it's turned into like a game place when they're not doing it's not a club. So in the corner of the club, there's these two big projectors. You got Smash Brothers on one, and you have like Street Fighter on another, you know, and then they have like little arcades, and then maybe like a little setup for Melee or whatever. And I was talking to the bartender, and we were just talking about like 360. He's like, man, because I had a pink controller and the pink controller kept disconnecting. I went and got no batteries and whatever, but we had a conversation. It was like, oh, the 360 was like the best, man. And we started talking about all these older games. And this young kid says, oh, PlayStation was the best or whatever, and then the bartender turns to the youngin and says, "Shut up, you're young."
Really, there was
we're
console
all
war
dads
stuff happening.
that like the old stuff better. The 360 PS2 days, you know.
I'm all about the PS2 days. I don't know if I'm about the 360 days though.
360 days were phenomenal, dude. Not Xbox original and not Xbox One, but 360 was huge, man. It was massive.
in numbers, but I feel like the
games were good. The
record-breaking
online play was good. No one played online. No one did any of that stuff on PlayStation at all. PS4 was and even PS4, like, it's like it won by default because Xbox sucked so much in Xbox One. I would say, like, they really messed up after 360. 360 they really made online gaming what I think it is now. Not PC, but console.
I think my memories of that era are soured by the glut of modern military shooters that we were getting from like 2008 to 11.
Yeah, I was playing all of them. Yeah,
between Modern Warfare 1 and Skyrim, a lot of games from those years I remember kind of mushing into the same Homefront clone. Yeah, remember Homefront 1 and 2? Basically,
God,
those days
bad.
I associate with kind of dark times in gaming. Even though good games were still coming out, there was this real cynical undercurrent of follow someone's butt and shoot foreign bad guys to make you feel good about your country that I don't want to go back to.
Yeah, I mean we still had like Fallout and stuff like that were coming out. Gears of War is more of that shooting stuff.
I almost feel like I consider BioShock Infinite to be part of that wave. Like, the gameplay is incredibly uninteresting. Follow people's backsides and shoot bad guys. It's a shooting gallery. And both before and after Modern Warfare 1 to Skyrim, games were a lot more. Anyways, point is, we should be talking about reviews, actually.
Oh,
because
right.
that's technically the news topic, right?
Holy crap, what happened?
For holy 15 minutes almost. Anyways, yeah, I was originally a little more cynical about this and being like, they're just dropping the decimal. It's not going to change anything. But upon further inspection, seeing that they're dropping 2 decimal scores entirely and just keeping it to one number, I think I'd still rather do no scores in particular, but I actually think this might be a step in the right direction, because then that eliminates that problem I was just talking about, where the stuff that gets high 9s, which nowadays would be 10s, straight up, flat up 10s on IGN, that would surely piss some people off, as if BioShock Infinite and Last of Us got 10s instead of 9.5s. On the other hand, though, that means that I'm just going to really, really like 8s and 9s now forever. For my IGN, I'm going to like their 8s and 9s. There's going to be no question about it. There's going to be no bickering over an 8.8 versus an 8.4. I always pay attention to the first number anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems all right. Well, all right. I mean, I don't know how long this world is going to last of numerical review scores and an internet economy where everyone's going to download a free-to-play live service early access version of the game that does not lend itself well to traditional reviewing formats. But I do kind of like the idea of The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite having the same exact score as Undertale and Mass Effect 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, there's less evidence that they want the quote-unquote prestige games, the high production value linear shooting gallery that walks you through a story that's been done 1,000,000 times before better in other media. That's what I don't like about the games that are getting 9.5s and above. But the games, if everything just gets a straight up 9 instead, then all of a sudden there's no 0.5 to worry about.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, IGN, it's changing things up. This is definitely going to make them better.
Well, Eurogamer, Kotaku, Polygon, and your boy Super Bunny Hop and Matt Visual all don't do scores anymore anyway, so they are still kind of looking like...
Yeah, I still do reviews, of course. That's what I do.
The majority of reviews still do scores, but there's like a trend among some big publishers out there to stop doing scores, and IGN's a big publisher, so they're kind of looking like the odd one out now, even though they're changing their scoring system to be less.
I wonder what would happen if everyone would just stop. Like if everyone collectively stopped.
Now that is an interesting scenario,
because like some developers get paid based on some of the review scores, right? Do they still do that?
Yeah. I don't. Well, they're not. It would be unpopular if they did, but there was evidence that way back in 2008, Bethesda was doing it in their contract with Obsidian for Fallout New Vegas, and that's how that story gained traction. Since that story got out in the wild, I wouldn't be surprised if it's less popular, but that's at least evidence that it was happening 10 years ago. Nowadays, though, if all of the reviewing websites decided to drop scores, I don't think much in the world would actually change. Because there would still be reviews. There would still be recommending
but people
or
would have to
dissing
pay
games.
attention, though. People would actually have to read the review. Or
they just scroll to the bottom and see what the recommendation is.
Yeah.
Instead of the score, they just read the blurb at the bottom of the Kotaku review, because they always put a little block of text where they try to summarize it in a glance, and it's more symbols than just one number, but it's still something you can quickly scroll to and read. Plus, I think people more often than not make their purchasing decisions off word of mouth instead of the reviews anyway, so I don't even know if it would cause that big of a financial impact to the industry.
No,
I think
there's a huge group of people who are just, they see a number and they're like, oh, okay, this is good. Kind of like what they do with movies. You know, they don't really read anything. They just like see a number and they go based on number. You know, I would like to say that the majority of people make, and
I kind of do
research
that
before spending $60, but I don't know if I have faith in the normal, the normies. They go on these websites, they see a score, and then that's it.
I actually kind of do that, though. Like, I'll start off by hearing word of mouth. Someone in my Discord will mention some cool new game that I haven't heard of, and I'll be like, huh, okay. And I'll read about them, chat with them, ask them, what's Fire Puncher for? And then I'll go to Metacritic and see what the official reviews say, and try to elaborately formulate the word of mouth plus the numbers to try and determine some universal quality of the product. But I think that's a lost cause, because Outer Wilds got me thinking.
Well, what did Outer Wilds get?
Outer Wilds got 8s. Outer Wilds is a game that I feel should score a lot higher than it is, but it got 8s. If you asked Liam,
it's too much
that'd be
work.
Perfectly fine.
The game is too much work. It's a great game, but some people don't want to go through that work.
It's got an 85 on Metacritic. And like for someone who has to make money off that stuff, that's a godsend, right?
Yeah.
Like Liam would immediately say, oh, 85, that's really good.
Yeah.
But since you and I have never had to like look at a Metacritic score and be like, oh God, are we going to be able to pay rent with this number?
Yeah.
An 85 to us is going to look like a good game, but not a money-making, life-saving, pay your rent with how great it is game.
Yeah.
And I think that Outer Wilds also got me thinking about the idea of there being some sort of universal standard of quality that the money put into a game, the money a game makes, and the review score is and the word of mouth all elaborately quantifies up to. And that is, if a space alien who had no idea what a video game is landed on planet Earth and was asked to play Ocarina of Time, they probably wouldn't know what the hell it was. However, if they had to look at a beautiful painting of the night sky, they'd probably agree with us that it was pretty or something. So trying to imagine how an alien would interpret our media might be an interesting thought experiment for wondering whether or not those universal standards of quality exist at all. Like the alien, I guess would know how buttons on a controller with a screen might work, but they wouldn't get the symbology of it. The like crisscross of Japanese and Western heroism and the thrill of what it means to ride a horse across an open field, right? The fantasy would not connect because they're an alien.
Yes.
You feel me? You feel me here?
I feel you deeply. Feel you deeply. Well, I also feel deeply about the Half-Life series being free.
Half-Life, all those games are free, and that is the second news topic on the list this week that I thought might get some good conversation out of Matt and I. I'm happy to see that the IGN change in their review scale totally did, but I don't know if there's as much to talk about here. The Half-Life series is being given away for free.
Go play it.
So some really, really good games that are at least 10 years old are free to play now.
Yeah.
Episode 2 goes back to 2007, so it doesn't... Like, it just feels like this is the kind of headline that I immediately looked at and was like, oh, wow, they're giving away a lot of expensive, valuable product. But then I remembered it's 2020.
Yeah.
And all of these games, the newest game on this list here is 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem like that much of a loss to take.
No.
To give away all the Half-Life games for free to promo their new Half-Life game.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think
this
it's
is fine.
good on them, yeah.
I think the only thing wrong with it is that there's just not as much that we have to talk about with regards to it. Half-Life 1 through Half-Life Episode 2 are all free. Go play them if you want. If you haven't, they're all good, but kind of normal now, because they set the standards for what would be normal. But yeah, giving them away for free. It's a generous, good deal, but, you know, is it really, though? Because they're 13 years old. They're making banks selling out indexes at every single outlet they're being sold at. They're about to release a highly anticipated 17-year-old sequel that they are surely going to make really good money on anyway. So, you know, still a good deal. I just don't know if it's as, like, generous and heartwarming as the initial heart punch feel might have had me suspecting.
That game might be, like, the first VR game to really be universally like loved. And if that's the case,
freaking time,
it's gonna set another standard again. And
I would hope so.
We're gonna have some good games after that.
Well, we all know now that that price point really is the hard barrier.
Yeah. So they trying to lessen the blow by making old ass games free.
Oh, plug these old-ass games into Vorpex and VR mods. You got a few choices for Half-Life 2 nowadays.
It's like, oh, I have to pay $1,000, but at least I get these games for free.
And you can play through them in a way that might actually be worth checking them out after such a long period, because Half-Life's not going to play like it did in 1998 if you have a VR mode going, where someone in my Discord is actually doing this. You have to use your hands to climb up the ladders.
Whoa.
Is that kind of cool, or is that kind of cool? Yeah, Half-Life 1 on like the Quake 1 engine.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, you know how FPS ladders are very, very unwieldy. Well, imagine how much more unwieldy they are if you really do have to climb with your hands.
Oh my god.
There's a selection of VR mods for Half-Life 2 that I don't think fully work perfectly in terms of disengaging the guns from the bottom of the screen and letting you wave them around and aim them and reload them. But it's surely fun to tinker around and play with half-working VR old games that can get plugged into VR systems. So yeah, if you buy a VR set nowadays, you're in for a good time if you download these games and dick around with them. Still waiting for the index to go on sale.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I mean, my hopes are My hopes are less than they were last year.
Yeah.
They're kind of going down, but it still seems smart to wait, right?
He gonna wait for a long ass time. I'm still rocking my old Gen 1 Oculus. I'm okay with that for now. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I do want to buy another one, but
maybe I should buy an Index used?
No, don't get anyone's sweaty grease on your forehead. All right,
Well,
don't.
you just wipe
Someone's
it off
head
with
has been all in that, and you're gonna put your head in it.
And if I
Okay.
sterilize the surface,
That's
it won't
sloppy
matter.
seconds, my brother.
That's not how I'm gonna say it works right now.
Sloppy seconds. Don't stick your head into something other people have stick.
I'm afraid that I have some bad news for you from the past 4 years.
Oh no! What did I do? What did
Well,
I
you
do
remember
over your
the-
house that you've used multiple times and with
The
your head?
VR arcades in Japan have you wearing everyone else's headset, and they give you a little white mask that goes around your eyes.
I don't
It's
think
just
I
like
played
a thin
any of
layer
those
of
though.
paper.
I don't think I played any of those though.
When I was playing your VR headset, I mean, your sweat was all over that.
No,
I'm
your
sure.
sweat was all over it. And my
Whenever I
sweat,
have-
I don't sweat in those. It's
Whenever
nice
I
and
have
clean.
friends over to play VR and we're like passing it around and rotating through it, you
Ooh.
just give it a quick
Ooh.
wipe and everyone's okay with that.
Yummy.
Apparently,
Yummy.
I don't know, Matt. I think
what's
this
a
might
little-
just be
What's a little sweat between friends? Okay.
exactly,
But
or strangers or customers in a store.
now you're stretching the radius out a little bit too far. You don't know what type of sweat is coming out of these people, man. You don't know what
I'm
they
sure
eat.
it's just salty water and shame.
Ugh, gross.
So,
Get a
Speaking-
used index.
speaking of being salty and shameful,
$900 for a used index.
yeah, I guess at that point I might as well pay the 1,000.
Yeah.
Speaking of being salty and shameful,
Mm-hmm.
it might be time for us to wrap up the second ever Liam-free Dad and Sons.
Was it I think it's like the third, right? We've been
Might be the
alone
third.
together.
Might be the third. If anything, the first one was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And is hazy in my memory now. But I
always
have vivid memories of debating the siren's pubes from FF8.
The pubes. Lovely pubes. Don't censor.
Feathery.
Don't censor the pixels. Free the pixels.
Downy.
Guys.
Quilted picker upper ultra
Have
bounty downy.
have a good week, guys. Don't shave your pixels.
Don't jump too high and accidentally leave the Earth's gravitational pull and float off into outer space. If you do, just nut in the opposite direction of where you want to go.
What is that?